So let's get a little bit of an update of what you've done since last week or last we spoke.
Well, I've been blogging regularly, have experimented a little bit with video and audio, and have still to, I think, figure out probably what is best for what message. But anyhow, so experimenting with all of that. Also, I have in front of me, I've been doing a lot of research on other competition websites, other voiceover training sites,
Yep,
and trying to wring it of every possible product idea that I can.
that's
And
a
I
good
have a
way to
number.
do it. So what'd you come up with?
Well, in all honesty, I have not found a whole lot of stuff that I hadn't already thought of already. It just seems to be repeating themes, but at least I feel good that I haven't missed anything because I've gone through every site that I could possibly find.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, so we have, I've brought up for those of you who are just getting on the call now, we've got Bill DeWeese's site. And Bill, can you see that on your screen?
Yes, sir, I can.
Good. Okay, so what you've been doing, repeat what you just said. I'm sorry, so in case we got cut off there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been I've been looking for every competitive website that I can in the area of voiceover training, and I have gone through it with a fine-tooth comb to try to find anything that I possibly overlooked. And I was just mentioning I really haven't found much new. It seems to be the same themes repeating over and over and over again, which is fine. At least it lets me know, that I was on the right track to begin with. So now I've been going through and I've got this big notebook with just all these thoughts and ideas and organizing them, into the main modules or products with subtopics and finding out some things that I thought were really like main topic ideas really better fit as subtopics and that kind of thing. So now it's an organizational game.
Okay, good. And so as soon as you have that, even a portion of that put together, you and I can get on the phone via Skype or whatever. My last conversation I had via Skype, the connection was so clear it was unbelievable. So, we can record stuff as soon as you want to.
Good. Okay. Well, then after this, let's talk because I think I'm ready to roll with you.
Okay, good. Sounds good. So now, what have you been when you've been? Give me one of the blog posts on here that is a an audio or a video, like finding voiceover work, home life balance.
Let's see.
Is that an audio?
No, that's text.
Okay.
Oh, here I am. I'm actually trying to scroll through the screen, and you've got control. How about what I? Let's see here. I think the basics. Oh, wait a minute.
How about the great voice of Ted
Crap.
Williams?
That's text.
Okay. But what you've been doing,
Um,
I'm just trying to show an example here.
Effective voiceover training is video.
I'm sorry, which one? Oh, here it is.
Effective voiceover training. That's
Gotcha.
video.
Okay, so I'm clicking on that here, and we'll see what's. So this is a video post. Now, remember, you also had to put up a paragraph or so, which you did here. And so I think did we see this last time?
You
Yes.
may have. I wasn't on the call last week.
Yeah,
If
no,
you
Oh,
we
I
did.
wasn't on the call
We
last week.
we looked at it last week. Thanks. And Bill O'Hanlon is here. Good. So yeah. So you've been blogging. How often have you been doing your blogging then?
Well, let's see. I've been pretty consistent. I'd say, the last couple of days I blogged. I've been blogging at probably at least 4 days a week, sometimes
Good.
more.
Good. Now the thing is, when we go to the products area, I see you've got some things that are populated there as well. And what we're eventually going to do is have those into the various major categories, and then underneath them have the minor elements, right?
Right, correct,
Good.
correct. And
Okay.
by the way, I don't know if you're interested in going back to the blogs, but the one that was right above the video one that you clicked was actually an audio blog, if that's of any interest.
Okay. So this
I was
one,
just trying to figure out.
don't blow it.
Don't blow it.
Okay. So what you may want to do though is also put a little bit longer description in the blurb there. I think that'll help, although I'm not really
Okay,
sure.
okay.
So if we click here to listen, you've got this all uploaded. So
Hey, this is Bill DeWeese, and welcome to my...
there you go. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good deal. Okay, well, let's go around the horn here. So I see that Mr. O'Hanlon, Professor O'Hanlon, is on the call.
Yes, he's here.
Yeah.
He's
So
here.
now,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, why don't you tell people what happened as a result of our little foray here?
Well, I had been gathering a list for a long time saying, you interested? I didn't even give anything away. You're interested in being on a list to be notified of, stuff about speaking, or I had another one about writing. I had another one about using the web for passive income. So I've been gathering these specialized lists, and I sent out to my specialized list about interested in writing and publishing a book. I had, I think, 1,200 on that, and then I had about I don't know, about 600 more who'd bought products about publishing and writing from me, come to boot camps or bought ebooks or audios or, whole courses about it. And so I sent out to those people the pitch or just the pitch and also just a link for publishing a book. And even I had a wrong link on one of them, so people wrote me and I had to write them again. And it was just this link, publishingabook.com. And from that, within 24 hours, we had about 11 people approved. We did approve a couple of people. There was some weirdness there. We told them we were going to have to approve them being in the coaching group, and they would commit for 3 months, $300, $297 a month. And they go to this page to get the initial pitch. They go to the next page to get the final pitch and some free training on video and audio. And so we got 15 people within 2 days, so a little less than 2 days, approved for the first coaching group. And then Fred and I talked and said, well, let's open a second section if there's more than 15 people. So we have 7 people so far that are approved for the second group. Fred sent out an email basically after we got those 15 people. He sent out an email to his whole list. And mine was much more specialized, so we got a little stronger response because these were people who had already expressed an interest by either purchasing something or signing up deliberately for a list about this. So so then when Fred sent his out, we got a few people that weren't so great. They weren't right for the coaching group, but then we got most of them. I would say, out of that, those 7 people, there were probably 3 that were inappropriate. And we're waiting for 15 total, and then we'll start a second section of this group. So it's obviously less work when you start the second section because we already have all the product stuff, all the pages built, and all the membership stuff. So it's a good deal for Fred and me. We spend 2 hours on the phone for each of the groups, and so 2 hours, and we got 15 people at $300 a month. You do the math.
That's 2 hours monthly.
Monthly, yeah.
Yep. And so, I mean, this model, I mean, I think it applies, Bill, to everyone. And I put up here on the screen, I think everybody can see, it's not just list size, it's the targeting that also matters, because Bill's list is very, very, very targeted to people who are interested in going after, publishing a book. So that list responded very, very well. So again, everybody, it's great to have a list with a lot of numbers on it, but again, my list, I think, even didn't pull that particularly well because it's not people that are targeted just to that group.
Well, and I would say another thing is that about 600 people in my list were people who'd pulled out their credit cards and bought stuff before. So that's even a smaller targeted list. That is, people are not only interested in our topic, which is writing, publishing, but there are people who pulled out their credit cards before and paid for something, which is a more specific list. If they're willing to pay online, some people just won't buy anything online, and they're willing to pay for products in this niche, they're really highly targeted and they're highly motivated, I think. So out of this, I suspect over the next 4 or 5 days, we'll get enough for 15 people for a second section, and we're going to pause at that point. We're not going to start a third one, I don't think, quite yet, because neither of us we want to try it out, number one, and number two, that's going to be 2 hours for each group. And Fred and I already have a bunch of other stuff going on, including the stuff he has with all the views. So you don't want to get too committed yet. So
okay, so I'm putting it up here on the screen then. So 2 sections, so 15 people, and again, so let's make that. Let's say when we get to 2 sections of 15 each, we've got 30 So 30 times 300 is 9,000. Divided by 2 is about 4,500 per person for each of
per
us.
month for Fred and me, which is nice. It's a nice base to have
Yeah.
for 4 hours on the phone, basically. So if you figure it up, we were going for more than we were going for $500 to $1,000 an hour on the phone. So that's good.
Yeah. So, I
So
mean, everybody can take
very
heart
nice.
looking at that. So now, do you think, Bill, that this is,
We,
I
I
mean,
just have to say we have one freeloader in our
ah,
group, but we are not going. Names will not be mentioned, but
Yeah, you shouldn't put up with that. Just kick him out.
I know. He's a freeloader, but we'll take him anyway. He'll be a good group member. He'll contribute a lot. We're all right.
absolutely.
Avish is in our publishing and
Yes.
writing group. The first section, the really high-powered people who got there first. That's really, and he was one of the original. He's the pre applicant because he tested our application process for us. So it's good. All right, sorry.
No, 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 no. Good. Yeah.
Hey,
So
real
this,
quick, speaking of high-powered people, Dave Hamilton once again did not get the link, so I sent him the login, but he's in listen-only mode, and he said he can't chat. So I guess if he has a burning
Okay,
question, he can
I
send it
text
via
it to
me through
you,
my
or yeah,
Gmail chat.
yeah, I think
yeah. That's
one, two, three, four, five. That's all they allow us is five people
oh,
to
okay.
actually be participating. So I'm not really sure.
It says 9 max out of 100, but I think for panelists, you can only have 5.
Yeah, I think panelists is only five. So what we can do is we can obviously rotate that. Now, Bill, what do you think for everybody, all the other proteges, what, how do you think this can apply to others as well?
Well, I mean, again, when you find something that works, just copy it. And we talked about this 2 times ago when I was on the call, but I had started this for another coaching group I did, and that coaching group is a little more high end. It's $500 a month, and I let 10 people in. And so it's a little more exclusive. But I did this model, and I was talking to Fred about it. I did it the first time, and I said, you have to be screened. I will not let everybody in because I don't want wackos and I don't want disruptive people. And I also want people who play well with others that can, do this. So that seemed to be the key to it, is saying it's not for everybody, and I'm not going to let everybody in. So that creates a little scarcity and a little like, you don't want them to get left out when their play groups are all forming, in kindergarten or whatever. And, they're like, oh, please take me, please. And people were frantic to tell me, I'm really afraid to be rejected. I'm afraid you're not going to let me in. And I'm like, yeah, you seem fine. You don't seem overtly psychotic, and you're okay. So it wasn't that big a screening process, but because I said it was screening, and I did screen, Fred and I looked at a couple of people and said, no, I don't think so. One person was going to be too busy. She's European. Another person was going to, she said she didn't have much money and she wasn't sure she could swing it. And we were like, then don't go in. We don't want you complaining every month because you don't have enough money, or dropping out after a month, because we'd like people to stay for at least 3 months and maybe all year. So we don't have to keep repitching this. So we were screening, and if somebody seemed weird, and there was one person who got our who opted in, who was abusive when he wrote because something went wrong with the process, and Fred said, let's have Stanley block his IP address. We don't want those kind of people in our groups. And I think, he didn't apply for the group, but he might have later. And so I think you have to be a little careful. But that scarcity, and we're going to screen people, and limited number, that is also scarcity. There's only 15 people in the group, and the first 10 people who applied got a certain bonus. The first 5 people who applied got a bonus. So yeah, we're going to add, besides the 2 hours, we're probably going to add a bonus that we didn't promise. That is interviews with industry experts. Burke, we've got you on the list. That we're going to get an interview with you, which will obviously help you because people will know about your work, and there are people who are willing to pull out their wallets and pay for something, so they may pay for some of your stuff. And we're going to do, I know agents and I know editors, and Fred's got this writer who's a really well-known writer, Mary Roche, and I know a few people too, that we'll just have one bonus interview every month that we didn't promise. Otherwise, it's Fred
Hey,
and
Bill,
me on the phone.
Bill,
Yeah.
let's try and broaden this out a little bit so that everybody else can understand where they should be going with this. So I think that what this tells our experience, Bill, tells other folks is that number one, setting up some kind of a monthly coaching program where people have to be screened is something that can be generic to every protege who's on the call, correct?
Yeah, and just, again, ask Fred or me, or just go to this site, the publishingbooks.com site, and just steal it. And actually, I meant to say, in addition to this, that Fred's wife being she's a copy editor and copywriter, and she went over it, and she's like, "This is the worst copy I've seen. It's terrible." She hated it. And when she told us that, it was when we just filled the group with 15 people. So bad copy with a really good list that's really highly targeted. They already knew me. Most of them already knew me. So,
Right.
they were highly selective. Now, if we were going out to a general list and we got them through SEO, we probably wouldn't sell very well. And so we're going to fix the copy. So as soon as we get the copy fixed, copy that copy.
Yeah.
But copy every component of what we just did. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Just think, how can this, work for me? And you can do it with Fred, or you can do it on your own, and just take the calls yourself.
Yeah, and now the thing about it is that I also think that let's just go down, down the list here. First off, in your case, Bill DeWeese, so this would mean again we're talking about the coaching programs that you're going to be putting together, which are the 1 day, the 2 day, and the 3 day. And so you've got, you're going to have that. That's what you're going to be screening for. Now, the nice thing is, given the fact that voiceover training can be done over the phone, this is the in-person, and maybe we put this as the in-person
Yeah.
stuff, but we also have a component that is over the phone that would be less costly, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Well, and you don't have to sell people again and again. They're going to be in there monthly. It's a membership thing rather than a one-off.
yep. And so I think that everyone who's on the call, who's a protege, should be thinking about, well, what can we do that is some kind of a monthly deal? Copying the model here from publishingabook.com. And then also thinking about what can you do that are the high end. And this is where the ones that, again, 3 day, one person, like we talked about this before, 10K for Bill DeWeese, the 2 day, and that's 3 person max, and that's 5K, and then 1 day, whatever it is, if we come up with 1997 or whatever, for up to 5 people. And this model, I think, can be used with pretty much everyone in some variation, shape, or form. So, Bill, now, like I said, in addition to getting your list of products, which I think you're doing a great job on, is again looking at competitor sites, coming up with a complete list of all the various products. Then you and I sitting and recording it. We have products. We have also a monthly program. We also have a high-end, see and go to Bill DeWeese's place, and sit in on his work as he does it. I think I like that. They used to call those, the term for that in information marketing was field trips. So basically, you get like a field trip to my office, kind of thing.
Sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, it does.
And the other thing is, the reason, it's great that Fred and I, joined forces with this is that between the two of us, we counted up, we have $6,000 worth of downloadable products and, our consumable products over the web. So, we put that on the site, and if it's $300 a month, people can sort of justify to their mind, gee, if I had to buy this stuff, and of course, who would buy all 6,000? Nobody. But they can think of it in their mind and justify, well, it's $300 a month. My gosh, I could stay in for a year and I'd still be ahead of the game. They're giving me access to these $6,000 of products for free. And plus, we get the people who come in early get an hour consultation, private consultation with Fred or with me or with both of us. And we give them a free ebook cover, which isn't worth much, but for them it's worth a lot. And so we're giving them so much in terms of they can justify paying that much money per month, and people just stay in. Usually, in my experience, they stay 4 months is the average stick rate, but we're going to try and increase it to 6 months, and so you don't have to go out and pitch all the time. but they can justify staying in because even if they don't even consume all these products, it's very clear they don't download them, they don't consume them all, but that overcomes resistance to the whipping out the credit card at first.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill and Fred, I've got a question for you
Sure.
guys. You said it's a 3-month program, but then you talked about trying to get them to stick for 4 to 6 months. How
No,
does
No,
that?
they commit for 3 months. They commit to staying in for the first 3 months. They can stay as long as they want, as long as they're getting value and we're delivering value and we let them stay in the group. But no, we just make them commit at first to 3 months, and they can either prepay for 3 months, and we don't give them any discount. They can just pay so they don't have the hassle of it, or they can pay monthly, but they commit verbally. And we're not going to go after them in court. We're just saying morally you're committing to 3 months because we want to get a coherent group. But we would love the group to stay for a year and stay there even beyond the publication and the sale of their book to get ancillary income, to learn how to do all this web-based stuff, to increase their income, even if they've already succeeded in getting the book sold or published. We want them to stick if they will.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And so,
Can I ask
go ahead, Jude.
can I
Sure.
ask questions about the structure of the program?
Yep.
Yes.
So you're going to do 2 calls a month with the group. Do you have an agenda or a curriculum, or you just get on the phone and talk about whatever you want to talk about during that hour, or is it just based on their questions?
Well, both. We have an agenda, which is I call the first part of it our rant. Fred will be great at that. We just basically say, here's what you need to know this month, or here's what we're focusing on, and we'll pre-send some questions saying, we need to know what your focus is. This first call, we're going to focus on your topic and make sure you got a great title and a great subtitle, and we're going to give our little rant about that, and then we're going to talk to people and say, okay, who's got a title they want help with, or who's got a title they think is great, and then that'll lead to more questions and more conversation. And we can't talk to all 15 in each call, but if somebody's dominating the call, the next call we say, okay, you talked last time, how about somebody new? So,
Hey, Bill, what have you set up some kind of a forum that they can all talk to each other between the calls?
No, and I do that actually by email, but we can do it on forums. What I notice is the forums are hit and miss. Some people are really active on them and some people are not active, but emails almost everybody responds to. So I set up a group email and we email out some questions before, and then they can respond to the whole group. So I found that works better, and people have suggested in the groups, why don't we set up a Google group or a Yahoo group? And I found certain people are really techie and they go on those things, and other people just never do.
Gotcha.
And some people, it's sort of a push rather than a pull. They have to remember to go on the site and check it. The group email goes out to you, and you either respond or you don't.
Yeah. Now this brings up the other interesting thing, which is the interviews with various industry experts. Everybody in the program here as a JV partner should be looking to try and I know that Burke did this. He got a hold of some of his friends and buddies, etc. The thing about it is that the only way to find out whether or not someone will do an interview is to ask. And I mean, after my interview with Vinton Cerf, I sort of got, I grew some bigger balls, and what I did was I then just started asking any and everybody that I wanted to talk to, and thus far my rate of response has been the 2 people that I approached, both of them said yes, and that was Tim Wu, who's who's a guy who wrote a book called The Master Switch, which if you haven't seen that, it's up on the site right now at fredgleeck.com. He wrote a book, and I interviewed him, and we put up a. Stanley was nice enough. Stanley's on the call right now, been doing a lot of hard work and doing a great job.
Oh,
yeah. And so Stanley put that up on the site, and you'll find it somewhere. Let me just see if I can find it real quick. But the point here is, the one way to get industry experts, and by the way, when you have the industry experts on the site as interview guests, it really enhances your credibility. There's only one way to get them, and that's to ask. And you'll be surprised at how many people will say yes. And again, this Mary Roach gal that I interviewed, I loved her books, but I called her up. Now, I had to be a little persistent with her. It took me maybe 8 or 10 emails back and forth and a few different things, but eventually it wasn't really that she didn't want to. It's just that she has a fairly hectic schedule. But she has graciously agreed to be on some of the calls that we do for the publishing for the book folks that I'm doing with Bill O'Hanlon. So, here's a major published
Best-selling
author.
author, and she's going to do a Q&A for our folks, our 15 folks.
Yeah. And so again, and that's unannounced. That's not something that we promise the people. That's something unannounced. And again, people who see that will go, wow, I better not get out of this group. I wonder who they're going to have next month. And
So is there a strategy behind making it unannounced bonus, or was it just that you didn't think about it till after you'd already filled the program?
No, we didn't want to have the pressure of having that, number one. Number two, we wanted to have those calls right before it's time to pay for the next month. There is a strategy for that. There is a strategic thinking.
Yep. And that's the whole idea is that so what'll happen is somebody will be thinking about dropping out and all of a sudden they go, holy crap, this woman's a really well-known author. And so again, what we're trying to do, so everybody who's on this call should be thinking, who are the people in the field that we can talk to? So Avish, if you and I are targeting, we're trying to target speakers, so we may want to try and get a hold of, people who aren't necessarily speakers but would relate, like, well-known comics or other types of people who would help a speaker to do their thing, speech therapists, somebody who's an expert in that, those kinds of things, to get people that everyone who's in our list would go, wow, these are really helpful individuals, as opposed to just the standard run-of-the-mill people that everybody else sees.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing we're going to do is release new products that we didn't announce either right before we send out a reminder to pay. So we're going to things we haven't promised, things that are new stuff that we're just putting out right before it's time to pay again. And especially that third month, we're going to do it heavily, so people will stick. That's our strategy.
Yeah, does everybody get that? So the whole idea is we get them in and then we keep them in by doing various clever things right before the renewal date.
So are you going to announce the new product, new interviews before the renewal, or are you going to schedule it so it'd be month 4 so they'd have to renew to get that bonus?
No, we're going to do it every month, but we're going to release it right before we send out a reminder, time to pay for next month. A few people paid for 3 months, but most people will pay monthly, and so especially that 4th month, we're going to probably do 2 and just really overload them and say, oh, we're going to do 1 and then pre-announce the 4th month and say, oh, next month we're going to have, Vince Cerf,
Right, got it.
We're going to announce somebody really good, or we're going to have an agent next month, and we haven't had an agent yet, or whatever.
Yeah, so anybody have any questions on that? I mean, I think everybody on here, and including, I know Jeff Van Sloten's on, and Jeff works with Don Benton. First thing, I think that the listing, getting all of your products together and knowing what it is, but unless you are, unless you're blogging on a regular basis and putting content up there that relates to the topic, the search engines will not find you. Now, everyone should take a look. Those links that I post, actually, Stanley did a great thing. Stanley was able to take all of the stuff. Wait a second. Stanley has a question here. I see. I didn't look at it yet. Let's see. Oh, he's giving me the link. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is the link to the Tim Wu interview that Stanley just put up. So it's sort of a long link. So /blog / blah, blah, blah. So all of that's there. And Stanley, thanks for that. The thing that I want everyone to sort of think about is Stanley put up these videos. And Stanley, I don't know if you can tell us, just send me a chat message. We're putting up videos. I put up a couple of links to these guys' videos that have some really novel ideas. Now, Bill DeWeese already watched 1 or 2 of those. Bill, can you give us a report on that?
Yes, you're talking about the set of like the 4 videos.
Yes.
Yeah. I was the one I'm watching right now is the Facebook. I'm sorry, not Facebook. YouTube. How to build your YouTube traffic. And by the way, if you hear some extraneous noise, please forgive me. I'm in the basement and somebody flushed a toilet. If you hear some weird noise, it's not Niagara Falls. That's what's going on.
Okay.
You looked a little flushed, Bill. You looked a little flushed. I saw on the video.
So anyhow, I'm a newbie, as I was telling Fred earlier about this. This is all pretty new to me in terms of digging in behind the scene to see who's behind the curtain. But I learned very quickly that you can look at your competitors' YouTube videos and look at the statistics there's a little button on there that you click, and as long as they
Hey,
allow it to
Bill.
be public, and most
Bill,
yes,
let me give you the screen here and let you. Why don't you demonstrate that to people?
yeah, okay, let me yeah, ouch. Let's see here. So I should
Something.
bring up my browser here.
Let me just see if
Can you
I
see
can,
that?
if how I can give
I'm
you.
using two
No,
screens. I don't know if I need to be on one or the other if it matters.
I can see a mouse moving around. I can't see any new screens.
Oh, hold on,
Okay,
not
hold on.
yet. No, I haven't given him the screen, so I'm handing over
Oh,
the screen.
give up control, Fred.
I am.
What do you see now?
Right now, we just see the main sort of the main welcome screen for
Yeah.
go to webinar, but that'll change as
Oh,
soon
I
as you
see.
put
Now
something
I
up.
have to actually take control there.
Yeah, you have to take control.
You
Seize
see it
power,
there?
Bill. Seize power. There you go.
Yes. Can you see it all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Let's do a voiceover training. And I took the first one that wasn't sponsored right here, this voiceover training and technique with Dan Levine. And right here, hold on just a minute, let me adjust the size.
I would like to go over some of the issues that I consider to be important when it.
Yep, that's my biggest competitor.
Okay.
And this little button right here, show video statistics.
Right.
Hmm.
If you press that, I'm going to have to scroll down here to see it. Here we go. Here's a whole bunch of interesting information. Now, I don't claim to be an expert on all of this as of yet. Like I said, I was just goofing around with this today. But if you look through here, you can see where his views have come from. And some from Google search, some from YouTube search. But down here, you'll see voiceover tips, advice, secrets. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the one I'm looking for. Where's it at? I don't see it. But anyhow, let's just go there for fun. Let's just go see what it is.
That it's easy. Everybody goes into that.
Okay, well, that's kind of annoying. But anyhow, what I did was I found one that was actually a how-to video.
Hey, Bill,
That's-
was this some kind of an ad for Gillette razors for this guy?
Yeah.
Should have been. Should have been.
Lost. It looks like he's in Lost. There's an extra for Lost.
He's a great guy, though.
I-
Let's not put him down.
All right. All right.
Is he a real actor?
I think
I guess so.
I guess so.
Guess so.
He claims to be. I
It's
mean,
on the
after
internet, it
all.
must be true.
Yeah.
So I went in and made a comment on the how-to video, and
Show us where
also
you did
it
that.
allowed-
Can you show us? Where is
I
that?
was trying to find it. Let me see if I can do. Let me do this again.
So you commented
before-
on this video that was just in front of us?
No, not that one. It's
I would like to go
Hold
over
on.
some of the.
let me see if I can find it.
So you
It
made
was
a comment
showing
with
last-
regards to this video right here.
No. Actually, I made a comment with regards to the video that was a source of traffic to his website,
Okay.
which I found in here, and I'm trying to find it now. It was listed here in this first page before, and I don't see it right now.
It changes all
Somebody
the
must
time.
have beat it out. Yeah.
Well,
But
show
anyhow, there.
give us an example of how you would do it.
Okay. Well, let's just go back to this Robbie guy, the actor. Let's see if we can. It was easy on the one that I was on because it was
That it's
basically
easy.
5 steps, to become a voiceover talent. So what I did was I made a few mental notes, and then I went down here to comments, and I just said some general thing like, good video, a couple things though to take note of. Number 1, you should always allow a professional to produce your demo. And then I gave a brief reason for that. Number 2 and number 3. So I just tried to add value to what they'd already seen.
And so
And
the
they-
point of this is you're piggybacking on existing traffic, correct?
Correct. And this even allows me to attach a video, as you can see here. So what I did was I picked one of my videos that I have here on my channel, which was finding voiceover work.
Right.
It's not a blatant pitch. All it is, it's actually giving useful information. I didn't want to, make it a commercial. So I attached that and hit use the selected video, and that was it.
There you have it. Good job. And so now that's again when I post stuff, I'm really serious about, I put that as anybody listening here because I want everybody to understand that my role as sort of the ringleader here is to do a couple of things, to find great resources that everybody can use to make us more money and have more fun, number 1, and also to find and to discover what's working with the other JV partners and share it and have those people share it with us. So we want to collaborate on this because I told Avish, my goal with Avish, who's sort of, I think he's the youngest one of the group here, is to get him up to $100,000 in the next 12 to 18 months, that he's making, because he's, I've had him, he came a number of years back to the Info Boot Camp, and we really didn't do anything with it for him at that point. But I want to show him that all this stuff, can really work. So my goal is two things, is to find good resources for you guys. And by the way, let me just announce something else. Bill, why don't you give me back the screen? Let me just see if I can get it back or not.
Do I just click change presenter?
Yeah, let me see. Okay, I'm going to make myself the presenter here. Show my screen.
Okay.
I should have it back now, right?
Okay. Yeah, it looks like you do.
Well, one of the things that I did this, I sent you guys a link to this guy that does this program. His name is Bill Barron. He does this Master of Enrollment program. I'm actually going to speak to him on the phone sometime early next week. But I'm going to take that information, and just to let you know what that is that there is, the whole idea of when, talking to someone on the phone, and I'll just blank all this stuff out here. Talking to someone by phone and then converting them into a client. That's what his system is all about. And so I'm going to take that information and I'm going to share it with you guys in a synopsized form. Hopefully we can get him on the phone to talk to us as a group as well. I'm going to try and make that happen. So the whole point, though, is that he has a very, very sort of codified system for taking people. So what does this mean for us? The idea of a, call for a free, consultation then becomes really valuable, because by getting people, and I see that Bill DeWeese, has it on his site where we've got real voiceover training here. If you notice, at my suggestion, what he did was at real voiceover training. Let me just see how I get there.
You're on our pop-up
right.
exit thing.
Yeah.
Oh yes, sign up for that.
Right. So here we got, if you notice, free consultation. And again, what we may want to do is even make this more prominent and maybe put some kind of a little starburst or something over here that says, hey, get on the phone with me for 5 minutes. I'll tell you what your deal is. And basically what you're going to do is, it's not going to just be, you're going to tell them a little something about their voice and whether, but you're also going to use it as a great means of sort of selling them either a product or a service, that you provide. So that's what this is all about, and sort of how do we do that in the most effective method possible. That's what that system is all about. So I'm going to take that, and some of you, I'm going to actually let you listen to my, I don't want to violate the rule of giving anything to anyone that I don't have permission to do so, because that's the business all of us are in. But certainly this guy is a result of my finding him, and I bought the product. So I spent the $500 to buy his product, and he sent me the whole package, which, by the way, came, and I have it here right next to me. It's sitting here in a fancy, 3-ring binder. And what he did is he took all of the videos and all the CDs and the DVDs that he's got in here, and he transcribed them to create this bigger package. Again, his idea here is he wanted something physical. He wanted a thud factor to go along with it. But there's things here that I want you guys to know that I'm looking to try and provide you with. So if I put it up on the Facebook page, it means it's something that's probably worth your taking a look at. Now, has anyone else taken a look at any of those videos yet, other than Bill DeWeese?
I listened to the audio. I downloaded the audio and listened to it. And, to tell you the truth, this isn't the direction I want to go. I never want to talk to anybody on the phone. I have no interest in talking to anybody on the phone. And I would recommend to everybody, if you do what Bill is doing, that you get a Google Voice number so they don't have your real number, because you can get people that just will call and try and hassle you and get time out of you and things like that. And just make sure you get a free Google Voice number, and you can transfer it to your cell phone or to your house phone or your office phone or whatever you want. It's free to set up, and it's got some cool features. You can have a specific answering machine for every one of your friends and totally freak them out. Like if Fred called, I could say, "Hey, Fred, sorry I missed your call." It's like, what? How did he know it was me? It's a little scary. It's like Big Brother-ish. It's very interesting.
So here it is. I've got it up in front of me. I just Googled, free Google Voice number. And so, Bill, what are you saying are the elements of that we should know about?
number one, you can transfer that. You get a free Google Voice number in your area. I have it in 505 area code. You can get it for Paris, France, if you want. I think they're mostly U.S. now, but you can get it in your area code or any other area code. You can get as many as you want, I think. But
Yep.
just and then you can shunt it when somebody calls that number. That's the number you give out, and you can shunt it into whatever number you're at. Your cell phone number or your home number, and you can have specific rules for specific people to call. If they're friends, it goes to your cell phone. If it's not friends, it goes to your business phone or whatever you want. And you can have a specific answering machine message for each number that calls if you want. If you know the number ahead of time. So all your friends, all your family, you can say, "Hey, mom, thanks for calling," da 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 da, whatever it may be. So it's got some other cool features. It will also transcribe your voice messages, not well, but I'm sure it'll get better in the future. It will transcribe them, and it's all free. Google, it's going to take over the world, of course.
Yeah. Now I'm putting up a couple of sites here. Now, how did you find out about that from one of your sites that you subscribe to, Bill?
Well, I can't remember to tell you the truth, but maybe it was on TechCrunch or Mashable. I just remember when it came out, and I read some reviews of it. And then Helen, my partner, my fiance, who's a psychiatrist, didn't want her patients to get her number, and she hasn't set up her office yet. She just moved down here from Seattle, and I said, well, just get a Google Voice thing. Then later you can change it to your office number. You can transfer it to your office number. For now, it goes to her cell phone, and it's great. It's terrific. And I was stunned by it. I'm going to make a video of how to set up Google Voice, so I'll put it on our site when
Nice video from Bill on how to set this up. How would everybody like this?
You
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And again, I read TechCrunch.com and Mashable on a fairly regular
So do I.
basis. That just keeps you up to date on sort of the latest stuff that's going on. So all of you who are, sort of new to this whole online marketing thing, info product thing, it's good to sort of just get an idea, because there's some great stuff out there that we can use, like the Google Voice tool, to do this. Anybody else have other questions? Now, Burke is just finishing up the product that he's sending to Stanley for publicity. And Burke, why don't you talk to people a little bit about? Now, we're going to probably put that at publicityseminar.com/products or products. I'm not sure yet. But the nice thing is that what we want to do, Burke, is probably get it out to everybody in the group here so we can get some glowing testimonials as well.
Well, I think we could probably arrange that. As a matter of fact, Bill DeWeese has a set that is on the way today via You Send It. So
Awesome, sir. Thank you.
Good.
You bet.
So tell people a little bit about what that consists of.
Well, it's hours and hours of audio about how to go achieve free publicity on TV or radio or the internet or even in the newspapers and magazines that are left out there. And we tacked on, I think there are 8 or 9 of those industry expert interviews with different people who know how to do that. Both people who are on the media side and people who are professional pitchers, like the head of publicity and marketing for a couple of publishers. I'm really proud of that product. We took a lot of time to put it together. So the next step is, the work on the website itself and to get into there. And I'll interface with Stanley on how to access the website and get in there.
Speaking of accessing, somebody now, Bill DeWeese, you have put up, when we see real voiceover training, you did this almost entirely yourself, correct?
Yes.
And you did that. You're not a techie person, are you?
Well, you know what? I in some ways I am, but I'm not. When it comes to web stuff, I'm pretty ignorant. But I love to learn software and stuff. So I subscribed to lynda.com, like you suggested. Spent a Saturday learning WordPress, and just started goofing around with it. And it's by no means perfect, but it's getting there.
Yeah, and my point there is, Burke, that there is now. How much time did you have to put in? Because if Burke were to try and, it's always nice to have Stanley helping us out. But the nice thing about knowing a little bit about yourself, and I did the same thing over Christmas break, is I went ahead and started to learn some of this stuff myself, because there are times where I want to get stuff up, and I mean, Stanley can't work 24/7. He's sleeping sometimes, and there are also sites that I'm working on.
Stanley.
You
Stanley, you slacker. You slacker.
Uh,
Sleeping on the job, Stanley.
yeah, he can't be up 24/7, although he tries
Oh
sometimes.
gosh, he
Uh,
does try. I know.
so that's the whole thing, is that and every one of us, I mean, and Bill is a good example, Bill DeWeese, of somebody who basically just decided, okay, I want to figure out how to do this myself. And he took Stanley's theme, which he calls this the Freddy theme, and he's been, and I think this site looks pretty darn good. I mean, what is
Yeah.
everybody, this, I think that there might be in this area. Whoops, I should have moved that, by the way, because I'm recording this. Um, what we got to do is understand that the theme just gives you sort of a framework, and then you can add all these various elements, the blog, the free consultation, the products, etc. But I think that the theme, since people who are involved in voiceover aren't necessarily going to go to publicityseminar.com and go, my God, this looks just like real voiceover training. Nobody cares. And so
That's right.
we're trying to make it so nobody has to reinvent the wheel here, so that we can take what we have already and share it among everyone here. So, I just want that to be clear to everyone, that all of us are going to be sharing all of these resources. And it's super important that that's the case. Now, I'm trying to think of, does anybody have, I'm wondering if somebody asks any questions, but I know that
Well,
right now, go ahead.
I have just a little bit of an input, which reminds me. So for Bill, one of the things that made this coaching group that Fred and I just launched a success is that I had very niche lists. I had very targeted lists. And so I was thinking for Bill DeWeese, okay, there should be one list that you let people get on that's even more niched than voiceover training. That is, I need to learn how to get jobs as voiceover. I need to, learn how to do a good demo. There are very segmented lists that you can create, and then you don't send out so many annoying emails to people that aren't interested in, and they don't get off your list so well. Every time I send out an email to a specific niche list, I get very few opt-outs. When I send it out to my major list, which is about 6,500 people at this point, I get 10 or 12 opt-outs because it's not relevant for them, whatever. I haven't got it so narrowly targeted. And I think that every one of us could do more of that. And the reason, again, this succeeded is that I've been doing this for a year, and I've been listening to Fred's stuff for 4 or 5 years, and I've been niching my list for about a year and a half. I didn't do it at first. Everybody was on my main list, and that was not a good strategy. I wish I'd started years ago.
Did you
doing
set up, hey
very,
Bill,
very specific. Yeah.
did you set up a separate squeeze page for them, or how did you
Yes.
do that?
Well, I didn't even do a squeeze page. I just put it at the bottom of my main site saying, this is my general list, and you get 2 bonuses for signing up for my general list. If you're interested in these other subjects, just click here and I'll put you on my autoresponder list. It's a Web Marketing Magic autoresponder list. So
Okay.
I didn't even give them any incentive to sign up, except they were really interested in the topic. So again, it was people who are willing to take action for no bribe. It was people who are very interested in a specific niche. And I think I have 12 or 1,300 on each of those specific niches. I have one on speaking, learning to be a speaker and making money from it, one on learning to write a book and get it published, and one on learning to use the web for passive income and good marketing.
Okay, so let's go around the horn here in terms of all of you. So let's try and think of what are the sort of the sub niches, if you will, that you could come up with. Bill DeWeese, I have yours. I want to learn to do my demo would be one. What other ones could you do?
How to build a home studio, or
Yep.
things
Yeah.
relating to it.
Perfect.
And what's the next one?
Let's see here. There could be like like technique, like performance technique type stuff.
Yeah. So in other words, what you're going to do is break down sort of voiceover in general, or whatever your topic is in general, and create different groups, different lists that are specifically interested in that, so that when you have something that comes out, you can go to those people and say, hey, you've mentioned to me specifically that you wanted to learn how to do your demo. I'm putting on a 2-day weekend seminar in Chicago specifically for voiceover artists who want to put their demo tape together. I'm going to give you everything that you need, and you're going to leave there blah, blah, blah. Those people, that the rate of response on that will be tons higher than a general list.
That's right. I can think of a couple more for Bill, and one is I want to learn to get hired to do voiceovers, which is pretty good. The next one is I'm already being hired. I want to move my voiceover career to the next level. I want to go national, and I'm local, and I want to go national, whatever.
Okay, so
Whatever.
now let's talk about some for Burke publicity. What would those lists be, Burke?
I would subgenre it out. I want to be on TV. I want to be on the radio.
I would do it more in terms of topic. I'm an author and I want publicity. I'm a speaker and I want to do publicity. I don't know, but that's me.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to specialize in TV. I want to specialize in my niche.
Yeah, so in other words, you could take your major niche groups, which would be authors, speakers. Who else would be in that? What's another category, Burke?
Entertainers.
Entertainers.
Yeah,
there you go.
go.
Yeah, so that
Politicians.
Yeah, I don't know if politicians is one of your niches or not. But so there you have it. Now, Avish, what about you? Let's go back up here and let's talk about. So if we're talking about speakers. I want to learn to be funny.
Yeah.
I want. So what else would be some of the things that speakers would want? Putting their demo video together.
Specifically on creating info products or products for speakers.
Yeah.
Business side of it.
How to create info products as a speaker.
And the book writing and publishing is.
Correct.
Another niche, definitely, to supplement it.
Yeah, so there you have it. So what we're trying to do here is make it so that you don't have just one big massive list, but you have individual lists that are really, really targeted and do that. So, and by the way, I really appreciate everyone being on these calls because this makes it so much better to have everybody interacting. It's always great if you miss the call to come back and watch them, but it's really great to have everybody's input. And I'm, again, Hammy, affectionately now known as Hammy, Dave Hamilton is still not able to speak because we only have 5 panelists and we have 4 other folks that took his slot. So we may want to rotate you in somehow, Dave. But the other thing I can do with Dave, which might work, Dave, one of the things we could do is to have you get on, maybe Google Chat or something and or Google Audio the next time and make it so that you can comment even if you don't, you're not a panelist. So we can make that happen as well. Any other thoughts, questions, ideas? Who's got anything else?
Dave said that sounds great.
Did he? Good.
Good.
Anybody else? What? There's a lot of information that
there.
we've covered so far, but is there anything else you need clarification on? I want to get everybody, like I said, with Avish, he's the youngest of the group, and I want him to move up and do his thing. So.
Well, I'll just say one more thing too, in terms of what Fred and I promised, and I think I was thinking of Burke with this, is or any of you, but I specifically came to mind is that we said, do you want to get your book written and published in the next 12 months? So that was what the focus of our coaching group was. And so, Burke, do you want to, have your own TV show by the next, or do you want to have your book become, get on the bestseller list by the next 12 months and get free publicity or whatever, a time period and a specific result that you're promising, I think is a good one to create your coaching group around.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and I think that Burke, we could definitely put together a coaching group, you and I, for all of your clients, that we could charge some kind of a monthly fee to show them how to create their info products so that they can actually be making real money when they get publicity.
Well, the pitch that Fred and I did on our videos, we said we've given this information out and we've done trainings on it. We've even done boot camps on it. And we noticed there's a lot of slip between cup and lip. Not everybody went out and got their book published, and that pissed us off and frustrated us. So now we figured, okay, here's what the missing component was: ongoing coaching. You can do coaching in those intensive boot camps and seminars, but then people go back home and they lose their momentum. So we have this ongoing coaching, and so I think that's part of the pitch. You're going to get support as the months go on. You're not only going to learn this stuff, but we're going to coach you how to put it into practice. You're going to be able to come back and ask specific questions to us, and we're not going to let the momentum get lost, because you're going to be in this group for at least 3 months and maybe longer, and you're going to maintain the momentum. Rather than learn this stuff, we can teach it to you. We can tell you all the strategies, but it's getting people to do it consistently over time. And then when they run into roadblocks, being able to ask questions of the experts, I think, is part of the pitch.
And Burke, now how many people do you have on your list?
Honestly, Fred, I'd have to tabulate it because I don't have web marketing magic. So,
Okay.
there are probably 2,000 people in there.
Okay, so you got 2,000 people. And which platform do you have those on right now? How do you send out emails to people?
We have software, Vocus software that we use to send out to the media. But other than that, you remember, I'm not, prior to working with you, not a traditional information marketer. Most of my business has been service-based, and we're looking to transition.
Yeah, no, let me ask the question again. What method do you have to send out emails to your entire list? What?
None.
So in other words, if you wanted to send out, where do you have all of those emails? Do you have all those emails on a list somewhere?
Yeah, they're in an Excel spreadsheet.
They're in
In their computer, and they send them out from their own server. Yeah.
Oh, so
which is a dangerous thing, because if you get blacklisted, you're screwed. But I have mine on Constant Contact and Web Marketing Magic. People who buy things are on autoresponders there, and then I have my newsletter list, which is 6,500 people, on Constant Contact. And what I like about Constant Contact is it has a little better stats than Web Marketing Magic.
Yeah. So now, and how much is Constant Contact, by the way?
It depends on how many people you have on your list. It went up to $85 a month for me now when I wanted to store more pictures, and when I had over 5,000 people on my list, and it'll go up when I hit 8,000 again.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not. I think that you've got really sort of three, or you've got Web Marketing Magic, you've got Constant Contact, and you've got
Aweber is the other one
Aweber,
people use.
Yeah.
I
But
found Aweber way harder to use than Constant Contacts, and I can teach people how to use Constant Contact. It's very easy.
yeah, now the problem is Constant Contact. Now, what for someone like Burke, where he doesn't have it in a system, what is he losing by not having that?
Stats, deliverability, those are the two main things, stats and deliverability.
And so,
And we have used Constant Contact in the past. We just no longer use it, no longer subscribe, because we did so little email marketing, so little product sales. So
yeah, I mean, if you're going to start to accumulate names on a site, it seems to me that Web Marketing Magic, that fee can easily be justified. I can't imagine that. Well, right now, so when people opt into the list, how do you get those? I don't even know how that happens. How does that work?
Well, I get an email, and I individually and personally respond to those emails, because we don't remember, it's a whole different business model than you and Bill use.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it takes so much less time to manage it. That's the third benefit. So one is you get great stats. I know what people are clicking on. I know how many people opened the email when they opened it. I know who opened it. And I know what they're clicking on and when they opt out and when they report me as a spammer. And if you get over 1% or 0.1% spam things, you get in trouble with them. So you have a double opt-in, so they really are committed to being on the list. And I find those services better. Web Marketing Magic deliverability is less than Constant Contact, because Web Marketing Magic doesn't make you do a double opt-in, and Constant Contact and Aweber do make you do a double opt-in. Web Marketing Magic I use for autoresponders. Constant Contact I use for my newsletter, which goes out once a month.
Now, the other thing is that if, Burke, if you start blogging regularly on that site and you start getting visitors to that site, it's going to be a heck of a thing to try and manage. That's my only concern.
Yeah. You
No,
start
that's
to
right.
get
And I actually just
6,000,
had a
it's really
conversation with Dave Hamilton about the same thing,
Yeah.
about what makes sense as we really ramp up this business and which of these to use, because we have used Constant Contact in the past. And, we do have, right now, we have everything dumping into the Com F5 piece, which, we'll see how that works for us. So
Yeah, and anybody who's outside of our group, Dave Hamilton is available at webmarketingmagician.com. Good. Any other final thoughts before we close up? And again, I want to make sure that everybody sort of takes this information and starts really doing something with it. So I think before the next call, maybe be thinking about, can we as a partnership, as a team here, put together something that would be a monthly kind of a program like I'm doing with Bill. I think everybody should be working on making, getting the list of the products ready to go, and I'm available to record, as often as anybody wants to do them. So that includes, anyone here on the call. Obviously, different people are at different stages of this whole process. So anything else?
No, thanks, Fred.
Nope.